Alright, it is the Bulletinman. How you doing? Glad you stopped in on a Saturday. It's the 23rd day of January in the year of our Lord 2010. My goodness gracious. Man, time is certainly flying. I hope you are having fun. I know that Bulletinman has not really been having a lot of fun here lately because the money is funny. Indeed. Very, very, very funny indeed. Alright, man, I'm trying to find today's date. January 23rd is the day. Yesterday was the 37th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. And that is what opened the floodgates of abortion in this country. And since then, we've killed over 50 million babies. The blood of those babies cries from the ground of America. And one day, very soon, we're going to have to account for that, atone for that, and it ain't going to be pretty when it happens. I had to put my glasses back on because Bulletinman is nearly blind, but today is the 23rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, and there are 342 days remaining in this year. Is it a leap year? I don't know if it's a leap year or not. It might be a leap year. If it is, there are 343 days remaining. Now, on this day, and let's look over our history here real quick. Since we just had an earthquake last week in Haiti, which was indeed caused by the United States government. We can create earthquakes, and we can control the weather. Hugo Chavez down in Venezuela knows this, and I was watching a show on CNN last night called Red Eye, about 3 o'clock this morning, and they were making fun of Hugo in his earthquake scenario. But Hugo is right on. The United States can cause earthquakes and basically play God. That's what they want to do anyway. On this day in 1556, the deadliest earthquake in history hit in China, the Shanxi province in China. The death toll may have been up to $830,000. Now, I get all this stuff from Wikipedia, so that is something. Be advised of that. Wikipedia is not always right on everything. Let's see here. In 1849, Elizabeth Blackwell is awarded her M.D. from the Medical Institute of Geneva, New York, becoming the United States' first female doctor in 1849. In 1870, in Montana, U.S. cavalrymen kill 173 Native Americans, mostly women and children, in the Maras Massacre. Yeah, we were really good to the Indians, too. In 1879, the Battle of Anglo-Zulu War, the Battle of Rourke Drift ends. I don't even know what the heck that is. The Anglo-Zulu War, I would assume that is in Africa, the Zulu nation. In 1937 in Moscow, 17 leading communists go on trial accused of participating in a plot by Leon Trotsky to overthrow Joseph Stalin's regime and assassinate its leaders. In 1941, Charles Lindbergh testified before U.S. Congress and recommends the United States negotiate a neutrality pact with Adolf Hitler. On this day in 1943, Montgomery's 8th Army captured Tripoli in Libya from the German-Italian Panzer Army. On this day in 1943, on the other side of the war in the Pacific Theater, Australian and American forces finally defeated the Japanese in the Papua New Guinea area. This was a turning point in the Pacific War and marked the beginning and the end of Japanese aggression. Duke Ellington played Carnegie Hall on this date back in 1943. And in 1950, the Knesset passed a resolution that states Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, but America does not recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Our embassy is in Tel Aviv. What is up with that, huh? Now, speaking of Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, in 1958, Venezuela overthrew Marcos Perez Jimenez. And in 1964, the 24th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibiting the use of poll taxes in national elections is ratified. They need to do something about the poll tax as far as running for office. You realize that municipalities can prohibit you from running for office if you owe them taxes, which I think is unconstitutional. And on 1968, in this day, the North Korea seized the USS Pueblo, claiming the ship had violated their territorial waters while spying. And on this day in 1973, Nixon announced that the peace accord had been reached in Vietnam. 1985, O.J. Simpson became the first Heisman Trophy winner elected to the Football Hall of Fame. I guess O.J.'s still in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? Should be. I wonder how O.J.'s doing. You know, he's in jail in, I think, Nevada of all places. I wonder if O.J. ever got out. I thought about writing O.J. a letter and seeing how he's doing. Maybe I'll do that. You know, a lot of my letters that go to the federal facilities and some state facilities get rejected as contraband. Do you believe that? Alright, and on this day in 2003, the final communication between Earth and Pioneer 10 occurred. Let's see who was born on this day of interest. Let's get back into the 19th and 20th century here. Oh my goodness, a lot of folks that are not even worthy of mentioning so far. Oh my goodness, we got to be one or two of them in here. I guess not. None of these folks sound familiar to me. Nope, not a one of them. Well, nonetheless, that's it. As far as your day in history, let's see who died on this day. Anybody in particular? Nope. No one I'm familiar with there either. Hey, in Crystal City, there is an election coming up in April, and the mayor position is up for grabs. And Tom Shilley now has some competition from gentleman Jack Jennifer, who owns the hospital right in front of the proposed smelter site. Jack has thrown his hat in the ring, and I certainly hope that you get behind Jack, because Jack is for progressive growth in Crystal City, not at the expense of your property values. You realize in Crystal City your property values, since they announced this smelter, have fallen off about 20% on top of the 30 or 40% that they fell off because of the downturn in the real estate market. But Tom Shilley should be tarred and feathered and run out of town on a rail. And as a matter of fact, he should be indicted by a citizens grand jury, tried, and once he is convicted of treason, because that is what Mr. Shilley is doing when you start doing business with the People's Liberation Army of Red Communist China, who's actually going to own that smelter and or the port down there. They do have a $300 million mortgage on Jim Kennedy's property at Pea Ridge, and I'm sure that now the Chinese have at least a claim to the property there in Crystal City, thanks to the greedy politicians and the ones who want to deal in darkness down there in Crystal City. But Tom Shilley and all the other folks there in Crystal City who voted for that treasonous piece of legislation should be arrested, tried, and convicted. And once convicted, yeah, I think they should be executed. I believe that is the penalty for treason. I'm not saying go out and murder these people, because everybody needs a trial and everybody needs to be able to put on a defense. But once they are convicted by a jury of their peers, and then they should hang. They really should, whatever the case may be. I do love you, though. I wish you get saved, and saved people normally don't deal in darkness. Saved people don't deal with the sworn enemies of America. So, Mr. Shilley, I wish you would just find the Lord. I heard some more scuttlebutt yesterday about the Pagano incident, from back in 1992, coming up on, I guess, 20 years since the Pagano Tim Todd murder went down, and I heard some more interesting comments about that yesterday. And so I got to say, I'll have more about that later. I got to do a few little checking out on a few things. And went over to the South 5th area of Festus yesterday, and I got to say there is peace in the valley there in South 5th. Tim Lewis and the Festus Police have cleaned that area up. And I was on them about 6-8 weeks ago about what was going on over there. But they did step up to the plate, so I got to clap my hands. I got to clap my hands for the folks over in the Festus at the Festus Police Department. I understand that they got all that situation cleaned up. And they got burglars taken off the street and all that kinds of good stuff. Man, that's an upstanding police department there in Festus, Missouri. All right, I do love you, and I appreciate you stopping by on this Saturday night. It's the 23rd day of January. You've joined the Bulletinman one more time, and as always, I ask you to tell a friend about the one and only Bulletin Man, if you would. God bless you.